All praises to Yahweh, Mahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Apostle Elders in New York, GMS. And salutations to Yak around the world. And shalom to you, Sirius Aqua. My name is Maya Ka'ala Bungad with Chicago branch of Great Millstone. Like my disclaimer that we're not black Hebrew Israelites, we are Israelites. The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, speckled birds, scattered abroad. Speckled birds are Israelites who look like other nations, but their fathers' paternal bloodline go back to the 12 tribes of Israel. We're not affiliated with any violent groups, we are not affiliated with any terrorist groups, we're not affiliated with any militant groups, we're not affiliated with any other Israelite groups. All right, man, so Garfield has for so-called Black History Month, nobody's black, like these fonts. All right, why on earth looking like that? But anyway, Garfield is getting all these scholars, everything, try to debunk that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Particularly in this case, the so-called Negroes. All right, so he got Dr. Tudor Parfitt. Matter of fact, I have one of his book, Tudor Parfitt, Journey into the Vanished Cities, about the limbo, which Garfield, Henry said that the limbo was practiced in circus in 1917 when that book I just mentioned by Tudor Parfitt, when they was showing it, doing it way before that. But anyway, all right, Garfield asked a question, why so-called African Americans, why do they want to associate themselves with the children of Israel? All right, my answer is, and the Bible answer, the Bible states the other Israelites. The Bible identified the so-called Negroes as the Israelites that they're Israelites, man. There's no getting way around it. But Garfield, he don't want to accept it. Number one, I believe me and brother Malcolm, Elder Malcolm, one of the heads of GMS Chicago. We believe that he's Garfield sent out, man, just like just like Polite was, man. The rest of them people, like that brother, forgot the brother name. He did that video, showing Hitler mad, and he put some word, sending Polite, sending this person. So we believe that Esau sent Garfield. All right, out to try to debunk the 12 tribe sign. All right. Try to debunk that the so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of now. And so I'm going to play what his answer says, show how he contradicts himself, basically fell upon his own sword and the truth came out of him. Now watch this. All right.
It's so okay. So let's just go back to your question, because I know what you're saying. So if you're black here, and and particularly earlier on in the...
Not black, we're brown. Okay. All right. Nobody's black. All right. The Israelites are brown skinned people. All right. Black is a byword that was put upon our people by our oppressor Esau to strip us from our nationality, which is Israel, which correct is Yasha Allah, he Prince of Power. All right. And take away our humanity. All right. So somebody shoot us in the street, they get away with it. A cop get away with it. Anybody else get away? Why? Because we strip our nationalities. There's no black land. There's no black nation in UN. All right. It's going to come into court and say, hey, we the black nation. You kill one of our people. That's not going to happen. All right. So Esau's clever by, he's clever. He did that, man. All right.
The history of this country. And you're assumed for wrong reasons of raciology, if you want to call it that. You're assumed to be inferior. You're assumed to have a different response to disease than white people. You are assumed to be more stupid than white people, to be more puny than white people, to be all.
All right, and say anything. Esau know that our people stupid. All right, number one, our people had different trades before they came over here. They dealt in jewelry, leatherworking, masonry. Masonry is the bricklaying, carpentry. Our people was in agriculture. They ought to grew rice. They knew about the roots and the herbs that cure certain diseases. Okay, they was warriors. They was clerics, secretaries, kings, princes. All right, etc., etc. All right. It said Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 7. Deuteronomy chapter 4 said this is a wise nation. All right. Anyway.
Kinds of things less than white people until it's useful for white people, in which case you might be considered to be stronger and tougher and more resistant to diseases, right? So, I mean, this is racialization. And so a way out of being considered to be part of this low racial group in the eyes of the whites was to be put yourself into another kind of racial group, and so Judaism, you become a Jew, and it works to some extent.
All right, so there you go. All right, now watch how he contradicts that he fell upon his own sword. All right, and he's not gonna tell the truth. Psalms 58:3: the wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. All right, so Esau, he'll tell the outright lie, or he'll tell some bits of truth. All right, Psalm 64:8. It says, so they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves, and all the seams shall flee away. Right, man. All right. So right there. All right. He contradicts himself. All right. Watch how I play the earlier part of this video, man. All right. So that's what Esau do. He'll outright lie, or he'll tell he'll mix the truth in with the lies. All right. All right. And another thing is because his career will ruin. If he actually said the true history of the so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, this guy will he will lose everything, man, by certain people. All right, now I'm gonna play it for 10:41. All right, and watch how he telling himself.
In Africa, let's say the Igbo, let's say.
All right, so now the first he gonna deny, but then watch how he goes into the truth. All right.
Let's say the Zulu. They may
watch how he contradicts himself, right?
Express, their desire to belong to the people.
And Zulus aren't Israelites, man. You may have our people scattered among them. No. All right.
People of Israel, or they sense that they do belong to the people of Israel through this myth. But very often it's concealing some historical truth. So let's cut to the chase. The existence of a desire to identify with the people of Israel among African Americans, or between people of African origin living in Central America.
First of all, the so-called Negroes aren't African. The word Africa, go back to it. Scipio Africanus, a Roman. All right, it was a Roman general. All right, Africanus, that's a Latin name, Roman name, and the word Africa, go back, it means without cold, hot. All right. Americo Vespucci. All right. What basically means, some people say it means bitter, some people say it means worker. So basically, you call yourself a hot worker or hot bitter. Right? Oh, that's not a nationality. Africa has 50, if I'm not mistaken, Africa has about 52 states, 52, 54 states. So which one of the states are you from? And then you had the little islands and stuff, man. So no, that's not a nationality, man. Right? So our people, so-called Negroes, aren't African Americans. They aren't Negro. That's a color. They're basically saying black, right? Where he says nigger, right? You go to Acts 13:1. All right. One of the prophets named nigger. Why? Because he was very dark skinned, very dark, but he had a little little tinge of brown in him, right? He had very dark brown skin. He was so dark. Right? It was sort of light black, but not exactly black. It was dark brown, right? So play the rest of me say.
Is quite regularly articulated through the idea of the lost tribes. This in itself is a myth. And very often it is formed as a result of a kind of metaphorical identification with the people of Israel. However, that's not
All people who came out say the Israelites wanted metaphorically, man. They knew it. All right. Which I'm explaining in a few minutes. All right. Watch how you telling yourself.
the only way in which a sense of belonging to the people of Israel might have occurred among slave populations in the 18th and early 19th century. And there's some evidence, not very much, but there is some evidence that slaves had an idea of Judaism through Jewish manifestations in Africa. So an obvious example is Equiano, I'm sure.
Jewish manifestations in Africa. Well, man, what up, man? All right, but our people, they been doing all these rituals. I'm gonna show you. All right.
You all know about him. A former slave who mentioned Judaic practices among the Igbo. This is right at the end of the 18th century. It's a very interesting text. And he was talking about Judaism in Nigeria long before anybody had really said very much about the Igbo, which was only to happen over the next few decades.
Stop right here. All right. Now, I think what the ancestors say. Now he just contradicted himself, man. All right. And then at the video, he talking about why they're doing this because they've been trying down anything. So when they looked at the Bible, they see Israel. They did it because they being considered inferior by the so-called whites. So they felt, basically, I'm just paraphrasing, saying they felt low esteem. But I said the way to do that is what to say y'all the Israelites. They say y'all the Israelites because they are the Israelites. Our ancestors are the Israelites. All right. All right. The so-called Negro slaves that brought here to the Americas. All right. In this case, North America, they are the Israelites from the tribe of Judah, so-called Negroes. All right. Now watch this. Right here. Get it from this book right here. I'm gonna read pages 18 to 20 from this book. All right. This book is. And I brought this book out before. Igbo Israel comparison of Igbo and ancient Israel culture by O.D. Magolo. All right. O.D. Magolo. O.D. Magolo. Magolo. O.D. Magalu. All right. It's a lot if I pronounce his name wrong. This is page 18. All right. Don't bring the rest of this out. The rest of the information out. On the 12th, the Most High won against Garth and his new friend Ehab ever. All right. But anyway, this page 18, it says, like the Israelites in their primitive state, our government was conducted by our chiefs and judges, our wise men, elders, and head of family with us enjoyed a similar authority over his household, which that is ascribed to Abraham and other patriarchs. The law of our retaliation prevailed almost universally with us as well. Continue on page 19. Right. With them, even their religion appeared to shed upon us a ray of his glory, though broken and spent in his passage eclipsed by a cloud, in which time, tradition, ignorance might have enveloped it. For we had our circumcision right, I believe, particular to that people. Right, correct, man. All right, so only a nation of Israel circumcised their babies, man, on the 8th day after they born. All right, nobody else doing that, man, that way. For we had our we had our sacrifice and burnt offerings, our washings, our purifications on the same occasions as they had. This is from Aluda Equino. And in pages 20 and 21 of his book, The Life of Ludoquino Gustavus Vasa the African, published 1718. All right, you got some people, oh, you say you African. What he just saying, basically, all right, just saying where he from, the continent he from, man. All right, Africa had different nationalities in there, man. All right. It said, by the factors of time and place, culture transcends, and therefore a lot of gratitude owed to curative historical accounts and records, fossilized, archaeological, written, or oral, that enhance the comprehension of the past. It remained manifest ramification, retention by the Igbo of its Hebrew culture and custom, moral tradition, folklore, religious practice, linguistic expressions, as phrases, proverbs, items, even onomatopoeia, which are absolutely in both, Slough, I pronounced that wrong, embedded in sacred texts in ancient Hebrew. The Tanakh, which bears the Torah, one of the first books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. The Nebi, which comprises of records of the Promised Land, and Kedana consists of Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Songs of Solomon. All right. It said, we will omit a carnal illumination into the Igbo modern historical experience if we do not sufficiently add a Ludoquino account. The etymology behind this Igbo name is the author abolition states, Luda translate the loud voice, the author's prophetic destiny, rightly standing lyrically. All right, so that's that. We'll go to page 20. All right. Basically said the founder of global political phenom and the labor movement indeed allowed global voice towards liberation of African forced exile, meaning Israelites from Africa. All right, the oppressed class of the world began to organize resistance to slavery and emancipation struggles in Sheffield, England, in the 1786, 90s, and Aquino was a pioneer. His surname Aquino translates to wrestling. So like the way I took this book, I'm just trying to get the best I can. Wrestling was a cultural sport in our Igbo land, often recurring custom in Igbo society, festival occasions, and recreational events. It says right here, we practice circumcision like Jews and make offers and feasts on the occasion, right? In the same manner as they did, like them, our children were named from some event, some circumstance and fancy for bringing the time in their birth was alluded, which our language signified, what did it say? Vicissitude or fortune. Also, one favor, having a loud voice, well spoken. Alluded Quaino in this book, The Life of Alluded Quaino, Augustus, the African, page 18, published in 1789. All right, so this is Alluded Quaino. He quoted him again. All right. He said there was this Louis Quaino talk, the author quoting him again. All right. There were also one Daniel Queen, about 40 years of age, a man very well educated who messed with me on board the ship. He likewise dressed and attended the captain. Fortunately, this man soon became much attached to me and took great pains to instruct me in many things. He taught me to shave, dress hair a little, and also read in the Bible. Explaining many passages to me which I did not comprehend, I was wonderfully surprised to see the laws and rules of my country. I'll read again. I was wonderfully surprised to see the laws and the rules of my country written almost exactly here. A second which I believe tend to impress our manners and customs more deeply on my memory. All right, this is Elena Quino. All right. Right, it says the written testament of this Igbo who had 11 years experienced a gruesome middle patch between Africa and America around 1750 is important reference to the Igbo culture and religious past coming in contact with the Western world mid 18th century, about 250 years ago. He makes known in his book excerpts his observation of Jewish customs in the Bible. There are similarities with his culture inherently embedded in the custom and Moore's reflect of the Hebrew text, our Igbo culture. All right. The profound authoritative testimony of preeminent and foremost custodian of the Igbo history and culture, the Erie, Izeniri, all right, the Obidiwigo, Onyeso lends serious credence to this belief. Slop, I pronounced that name wrong. The article evidence, some which are now lodged by a number of state government at Igbo Yikuyu Museum, are traditional credible reference points. 3 best ways of providing historical claims of any people or tribe Our written documents, oral tradition, archaeological evidence all supports Igbo Hebrew ancestry. All right. Okay. The Igbo are eventually industrious as Jews. All right. Parallel culture and religious genres are both customs permit a man to raise children from his brother's widow. Genesis 38 and let's see, Genesis 38 and 10. All right. It said Deuteronomy 28 5 and 10. Another stem culture practice is a cold period exile result of accidental homicide. Joshua 20 verse 1 to 6. World Northern writer Igbo original Chinel I'm trying to pronounce his name, Achibe, mentions the protagonist Okonko in the realistic fictional novel on Igbo culture, pre-colonial Africa, going to exile 7 years for accidental firearm discharge that killed a youth. They both had common tradition, lengthy funeral ceremony, 40 days. Either is or right in the morning. Genesis 50 verse 1 to 3. Igbos not only circumcised before the advent of Christianity, but do so on the 8th day following the delivery of male child in a covenant between God and Abraham, descendants. Genesis 17, 10, and 12. Now, in the Igbo, you have a 4-day weekend, but the author said, and I believe on 17, he said they got that 4-day week from the heathens around them. All right, so this is Igbo man pointing out this author right here. He's quoting the Ode Magalu. All right, he's quoting the ancestor Aludo Equino in Luqueno, and this this author they pointing out that by the Igbo customs and culture is similar to the Israelites. So how Tudor Parfitt, man, how we how the so-called Negroes, all right. Well, I mean, we as a whole nation, Israel, so-called Negro, Latino American, in this case, the so-called Negroes, they trying to be something. How they trying to be something they're not. Because they're not they're not they're not trying to be something. They are the Israelites, man. They are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. All right, their oral traditions, their history, man. I just read from the book. It matches the Israelites of the ancient times, and they fulfill the curses in Deuteronomy 28, particularly Deuteronomy 28 and 68. All right. So you're a hypocrite and you're a liar, man. All right. But anyway, man, this is it, and I hope you've been edified and shalom.